Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Last week's episode of WWE SmackDown saw the Bloodline brutalize Roman Reigns for the second time in 2 weeks. Following that, the heel stable made their presence felt on WWE Raw, which ended in Jey Uso losing his Intercontinental title to Braun Breaker. Meanwhile, the Stamford-based promotion is gearing up for one of its biggest international events of the year, Crown Jewel 2024. However, the premium live event, which is scheduled for November 2nd, is still some time away, and fans could witness a few major twists and turns in the Bloodline saga before that. The following piece will explore 4 such swerves that could happen in the Bloodline storyline before Crown Jewel 2024. 4. Solo Sikoa could replace Paul Heyman with Rikishi. The Bloodline brutally attacked Paul Heyman and kicked him out of the faction after he refused to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as the new tribal chief back in June 2024. However, the Street Champion is yet to announce Heyman's replacement. That could finally change in the coming days as Solo could recruit his father, Rikishi, as the new Wiseman of the Bloodline. The WWE Hall of Famer could return to replace Heyman, which could further spice things up in the Bloodline storyline. 3. Rikishi may force Jey Uso to join the Bloodline, however, that may not happen. If Solo Sikoa does end up recruiting Rikishi as his new Wiseman, the WWE Hall of Famer could look to strengthen his son's version of the Bloodline by adding some new members. One such name could be Jey Uso. Rikishi could persuade main event Jey to join the Bloodline, however, that may not happen. Given how the Bloodline's interference in Uso's match against Braun Breaker resulted in the former losing his Intercontinental title, the YEET Master could go against his father's wish to reunite with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso instead. 2. The Usos could challenge the Bloodline for the Tag Team Championship. Given how things unfolded on the recent episode of Raw, Jey Uso is likely to reunite with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso in the coming days. Following a potential reunion, the Usos could challenge the Bloodline for the Tag Team Championship. Tama Tonga and Tonga Tonga Loa are currently the WWE Tag Team Champions, however, their reign could be under serious threat as the Usos are one of the most formidable and dominant tag teams of all time. It won't be surprising if the company books a potential title match between the two teams at Crown Jewel 2024. 1. Roman Reigns' friend, Paul Heyman, could return with Zilla Fatu. As mentioned earlier, Paul Heyman has been on a hiatus since June 2024. However, the Wiseman is likely working with the original tribal chief behind the scenes. Hence, it may not be too long before Heyman returns to reunite with Roman Reigns. However, the WWE Hall of Famer may not return alone. Heyman could be accompanied by late great Umaga's son, Zilla Fatu. The 25-year-old star has made a name for himself, thanks to his impressive work in the independent circuit. Zilla has been rumored to get involved in the Bloodline saga for quite some time now, and the same could transpire before Crown Jewel 2024. Heyman could return with some much-needed reinforcements to help Roman Reigns even the odds against the Bloodline. As the WWE Universe buzzed with anticipation for Crown Jewel 2024, the landscape of the Bloodline was shifting in ways no one could have predicted. Roman Reigns, the reigning tribal chief, had been absent from the ring due to an undisclosed injury, leaving a power vacuum that his family struggled to fill. Paul Heyman, ever the mastermind, was grappling with his own crisis. Having lost some of his influence over the Bloodline, he was under pressure to prove his worth again. Meanwhile, Jey Uso, once the steadfast warrior alongside his brother, found himself at a crossroads. Twist 1. The Unexpected Ally. The first twist came when an old friend of Roman Reigns reappeared just days before Crown Jewel. This was none other than Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist and WWE Hall of Famer, who had maintained a close relationship with Reigns. Angle was brought in as a special advisor to help navigate the turmoil within the Bloodline. His wisdom and experience were welcomed by Jey Uso, who found himself torn between loyalty to his family and his growing resentment toward Solo Sikoa, who was increasingly acting as Reigns' enforcer in Roman's absence. Kurt's arrival sparked a new dynamic within the faction. He pushed for unity, urging Jey to recognize the importance of family over personal grudges. But as Jey grew closer to Angle, Solo began to feel sidelined. Tensions escalated when Solo confronted Jey, accusing him of betraying their brotherhood by confiding in Angle. This confrontation would set the stage for a dramatic showdown, with Solo vowing to prove his loyalty to Reigns at Crown Jewel, regardless of the cost. Twist 2: Jey Uso's Dilemma. As the event drew nearer, Jey was faced with an impossible choice. Following a heated confrontation with Solo, he was essentially forced to align with him, as Paul Heyman orchestrated a storyline that painted Jey as the outcast of the bloodline. Heyman's manipulation came into full swing, suggesting to the WWE Universe that Jey's allegiance to Kurt Angle was a sign of weakness. This narrative sparked anger among fans, and Heyman was quick to capitalize on it. The stakes were raised when Solo challenged Jey to a match on SmackDown, claiming that if Jey lost, he would have to pledge his loyalty to Solo and Reigns permanently. This was not just about personal pride, it was about survival in a faction that was quickly splintering. As Jey prepared for the match, he realized that losing could mean losing his identity and independence within the bloodline. Twist 3: Heyman's Replacement. On the eve of SmackDown, a shocking announcement came from the WWE Board of Directors. Paul Heyman was being temporarily suspended due to questionable management practices that had caused internal strife within the group. In his place, WWE appointed Bobby Lashley as the interim manager of the Bloodline. Lashley, known for his strength and leadership qualities, promised to unify the faction and lead them into Crown Jewel as a cohesive unit. Heyman's sudden ousting sent shockwaves through the WWE Universe. Many speculated that this was part of a larger plan to take the Bloodline in a new direction, one that could see Jey and Solo finally working together under Lashley's guidance. However, this also left Heyman seething with anger and desperation to reclaim his role. Twist 4: The Crown Jewel Confrontation. As Crown Jewel approached, the tension reached a boiling point. During the event, as Jey Uso faced Solo Sikoa in a high-stakes match, the arena buzzed with anticipation. Midway through the match, Roman Reigns made a surprise appearance, walking down the ramp with an intensity that electrified the crowd. It was revealed that Roman had recovered from his injury faster than anyone expected, and he was here to reclaim his throne. Reigns didn't just come to watch, he stepped into the ring, standing between Jey and Solo, demanding an explanation for the chaos that had ensued in his absence. The arena was split, with some fans cheering for Reigns and others showing their support for Jey. The moment felt monumental, as all three men stood in the ring, tensions palpable. In a dramatic turn, Jey Uso finally broke his silence, declaring that he was tired of being treated as the second fiddle. He announced that he had had enough of the power struggles, proclaiming that he wanted to be his own man. But before he could finish his statement, Paul Heyman appeared at ringside, throwing a wrench in the situation. Heyman called for the return of the true champion, claiming that he had a backup plan to ensure the Bloodline's dominance. In an electrifying moment, it became clear that Heyman had aligned himself with an unexpected ally, ***The Rock***, who had been teasing a return to WWE for months. The crowd erupted in shock and excitement. The Rock, standing at ringside, had a message for Roman, Jey, and Solo: "Family means everything, but you've forgotten that together, we can reign supreme." As tensions peaked, the match took an unexpected turn. Solo and Jey, united momentarily against the outside distractions, formed an uneasy alliance, but not without deep-seated animosity. The match ended in a double countout as all four men clashed outside the ring, leading to a chaotic brawl that spilled into the audience. Conclusion: the path forward. The aftermath of Crown Jewel would see the Bloodline transformed, with allegiances tested and roles redefined. Roman Reigns, now dealing with the repercussions of his sudden re-entry, had to navigate the fragile state of his family while facing pressure from both Heyman and The Rock to maintain dominance. Jey Uso's struggle for independence would resonate with fans, as he became a figure of empowerment, willing to stand up for himself in a faction that had defined his career. And Solo, finding himself in the middle, faced the challenge of proving himself as a capable leader while trying to earn the respect of his family. With the dust settling from Crown Jewel, the Bloodline saga was far from over. As new alliances formed and old loyalties were questioned, fans eagerly awaited the next chapter in this intricate tale of family, power, and betrayal. The landscape of WWE was shifting, and with it, the very definition of what it meant to be a member of the Bloodline. The atmosphere in the WWE locker room was electric. Superstars hustled about, prepping for the night's matches, their adrenaline palpable. But in a corner of the room, Jey Uso sat quietly, his thoughts heavy. After months of tumult and uncertainty, he was caught between the legacy of the Bloodline and his desire for independence. As the sound of the arena's energy filtered through the walls, Rikishi, Jey's father and a legendary figure in wrestling, entered the locker room. His presence was commanding, yet his expression carried the weight of a family legacy. Rikishi had seen the highs and lows of wrestling, and he knew all too well the complexities of familial loyalty within the squared circle. "Jey," Rikishi said, his voice steady but warm. "We need to talk." Jey looked up, his heart racing. He could sense the urgency in his father's tone, but he also felt the tug of conflicting emotions. "What's up, Dad?" "I've been watching everything unfold with the Bloodline," Rikishi began, sitting beside Jey. "I know you've been trying to carve your own path, but you need to consider the strength and unity that comes with the family." Jey leaned back against the locker, his brow furrowed. "But what about my journey? I don't want to be just a pawn in a storyline. I need to prove I can stand on my own." Rikishi sighed, understanding the struggle of his son. He had once fought against the expectations of being a Samoan wrestler himself. "I get it, Jey. But think about the legacy. The Bloodline isn't just a faction, it's a heritage. It's about protecting what we built." As Rikishi spoke, images flooded Jey's mind, the championship glory, the triumphs, and the brotherhood that came with being part of the Bloodline. But he also recalled the heartaches and the struggles he'd faced alongside his brother, Jimmy, and their cousin, Roman Reigns. The weight of that legacy felt suffocating at times. "Look, I respect what we've done as the Usos, but I need to explore who I am without the shadow of the Bloodline," Jey said, determination setting in. "I can't just follow orders. I want to define my own story." Rikishi's expression softened, but the tension in the air was palpable. "I'm not asking you to abandon your dreams. I just want you to understand the bigger picture. Roman is a powerful figure. He's at the top of the game right now, and being part of the Bloodline means you're part of that power." Jey felt a mixture of resentment and obligation. "So you think I should just drop everything and join the family again? I fought so hard to get here." "Not drop everything," Rikishi insisted. "Think about the benefits, the opportunities. You could reignite that connection, leverage it to build yourself even stronger." As they talked, a plan began to formulate in Jey's mind. If he could negotiate his own terms while still maintaining a connection to the Bloodline, perhaps he could find a way to satisfy both his desire for independence and his family's legacy. Later that night, as the arena roared with anticipation, Jey prepared for his match. The adrenaline coursing through him was like a surge of electricity. He stepped out into the spotlight, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Every chant of USO resonated within him, a reminder of who he was and where he came from. But as he entered the ring, he spotted Roman standing ringside, his presence commanding attention. The tension between them was palpable. Roman had been the dominant figure in the Bloodline, and Jey felt the pressure to align himself with that legacy once again. As the match unfolded, Jey fought fiercely, showcasing his skills and determination. But every time he glanced at Roman, he felt that internal battle intensifying. It was clear that Roman had a vision for the Bloodline, one that involved unity and strength. He could sense the pressure from his cousin to conform. After a hard-fought match, Jey emerged victorious, but the triumph felt hollow. As he celebrated, he couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty. Suddenly, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Rikishi had come to the ring, his face a mix of pride and concern. "Great match, son," Rikishi said, genuinely proud. "But you have to make a choice. The bloodline is calling for you. They want you back." Jey felt his heart race. He stepped back, feeling the weight of his father's words. "I know, Dad. But it's not that simple. I can't just jump back in without considering what that means for me." Rikishi nodded, sensing his son's turmoil. "You need to find a way to balance your identity with the family. Maybe it's not about choosing one over the other. You could be the bridge, Jey." Jey pondered his father's words as he left the ring, feeling both empowered and conflicted. He wanted to honor his lineage, but he also needed to pave his own way. The prospect of joining the bloodline again loomed over him like a shadow, but he was determined to stand firm in his beliefs. As the weeks passed, tension grew within the bloodline. Roman, eager to solidify his dominance, began pressuring Jey to join. He wanted Jey by his side for an upcoming title match against a rival faction. "We need you, Jey. You know what it means to be family. Stand with us." Jey felt the weight of his cousin's words, but he also felt his resolve hardening. "Roman, I can't just be a part of the script you're writing. I need to be me." Roman's eyes narrowed, frustration evident. "You think you're above this? You think you can turn your back on what we built? You're either with us, or you're against us." The ultimatum hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Jey stood firm, feeling the weight of his family's legacy. But he also felt a spark of defiance igniting within him. "Maybe I can be both, Roman. But I won't let anyone dictate my journey." As the night of the title match approached, Jey grappled with his decision. Would he align himself with the bloodline once more, or would he carve out his own destiny? In the end, the answer lay within him, a blend of honor and independence that could redefine what it meant to be part of the bloodline. When the match began, Jey stood at ringside, torn between loyalty and self-identity. He watched as Roman fought fiercely, commanding the attention of the audience. But as the match progressed, Jey saw the struggles of his cousin, the pressure of carrying the weight of the bloodline alone. In that moment, Jey realized that perhaps the true strength of a family wasn't about blind allegiance, it was about support, respect, and understanding. As the match reached its climax, Jey made a decision. He would support Roman, not as a subordinate, but as a brother, a partner. As the crowd cheered and the match concluded, Jey made his way into the ring, a mix of emotions swirling within him. He embraced Roman, a gesture of solidarity that spoke volumes. "We'll find a way to do this together, cousin. Not just as the bloodline, but as family." Rikishi watched from the sidelines, pride swelling in his heart. Jey had chosen a path that honored his heritage while still carving out his identity. The bloodline was not just a faction, it was a living legacy, and Jey was determined to uphold that legacy in his own way. In the world of wrestling, the lines between loyalty and independence often blurred, but Jey Uso had discovered a balance that honored both. And in that moment, he felt more empowered than ever, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, both as a member of the bloodline and as a unique individual in his own right.